You're doing something completely ordinary, washing dishes maybe, or lying in bed, waiting for sleep that won't come. And then, without warning, your mind goes there. A conversation from 3 years ago, something you said, something you should have said instead. And for the next 20 minutes, you are completely gone, trapped inside a moment that no longer exists. You didn't choose to go there, it just happened. And if you've ever wondered why your brain does this, why it drags you backward instead of letting you live in the present, the real answer is far stranger than you think. Because this isn't a glitch. It isn't weakness. What your brain is doing when it replays the past is one of the most sophisticated survival operations in the history of the animal kingdom. It just happens to feel like torture. Let's go back. Not 3 years, much further. Somewhere around 300,000 years ago, your ancestors were living in small groups on the African savanna. No walls, no hospitals, no second chances. If you made a serious social mistake, offended the wrong person, failed to hold up your end of a cooperation, you could be cast out. And being cast out in that world meant death. Not metaphorical death, actual death. Predators, starvation, exposure. You did not survive alone. This is the world that built your brain. And it built your brain to be ruthlessly obsessed with anything that could threaten your place in the group. The name researchers use for the mental habit you're experiencing is rumination. It comes from the Latin word for what cows do, chewing regurgitated food over and over to extract every last nutrient. Your brain, it turns out, does exactly the same thing with threatening memories. It chews them, repeatedly, looking for something it missed. Psychologist Susan Nolen-Hoeksema spent decades studying this process. What she found is that rumination is not random. It is almost always triggered by one specific category of event, moments where you felt your social standing was threatened, a public failure, a conflict with someone important to you, a moment where you feared you were seen badly. These are precisely the events that would have mattered most in a world where your survival depended entirely on your relationships. Your brain isn't torturing you, it's scanning. Think about what replaying a memory actually does. Each time you rerun the scene, your brain is doing something very specific. It is extracting information. Could I have handled that differently? What does this person think of me now? Is my position in this group still secure? These are not neurotic questions. For 99% of human history, they were the most important questions a person could ask. Getting the social calculus right was the difference between belonging and exile, between safety and death. Neuroscientist Helen Immordino-Yang has shown that the default mode network, the brain circuit that activates when you are not focused on the outside world, is deeply involved in what she calls self-referential processing. In plain English, your brain's rest state is not rest. When your mind wanders, it is actually running its most complex and energy-intensive operations. It is simulating social scenarios, replaying past interactions, modeling how other people think about you. This is what your brain does when you give it nothing else to do. This is why it happens in the shower, in the car, lying in the dark. The moment external demands drop away, your brain returns to its default project. And its default project is you and your place among other people. But here is where it gets stranger. The memories your brain chooses to replay are not random. They are chosen by a very specific algorithm. The more unresolved a memory feels, the more your brain prioritizes it. Psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik first documented this in the 1920s. She noticed that waiters had near-perfect recall for orders that hadn't been paid yet, and almost no memory of orders that had been settled. The moment a task was completed, the brain let it go. The moment it remained open, unfinished, unresolved, the brain held on. Your brain treats a painful memory the same way it treats an unpaid bill. It keeps it at the top of the stack. It keeps returning to it. It will not file it away until it believes the situation is resolved. This is why you can replay an argument from years ago with perfect emotional clarity, but struggle to remember what you had for breakfast last Tuesday. That argument isn't resolved. Your brain doesn't know what to do with it. It is still, at some level, treating it as an active threat. It is still waiting for a resolution that may never come. And then, there is the question of time itself. Humans are one of the only species on Earth that can mentally travel through time. You can project yourself backward into a memory and forward into an imagined future with startling vividness. Researchers call this episodic memory and mental time travel, and it is considered one of the most uniquely human cognitive abilities. Most animals live almost entirely in the present. You do not. Your mind moves freely across time. And this ability, extraordinary as it is, comes with a cost. Because a brain that can travel into the past can also get stuck there. The evolutionary logic is airtight. A brain that could learn from social errors, that could replay them and extract every possible lesson, would be far better equipped to navigate the complex web of human relationships. The individual who spent the night mentally replaying a conflict, figuring out what went wrong, how to repair it, how to prevent it, would wake up with a social advantage over someone who simply forgot. In a world where relationships were survival, that advantage was enormous. The problem is that the world changed faster than your brain did. You are walking around with a threat detection and social repair system calibrated for a world of 150 people, face-to-face relationships, and life-or-death social consequences. You are running that system in a world where you can lose a social interaction with someone you will never see again, read about it on a screen, and your brain will treat it with the same urgency it would have given to a conflict with your tribal elder in 50,000 BC. The stakes are different. Your brain didn't get the memo. And this is the cruel irony at the center of the whole thing. The more you try to stop thinking about something, the more your brain thinks about it. Psychologist Daniel Wegner demonstrated this with a beautifully simple experiment. He told participants not to think about a white bear. And the moment he said that, white bears filled everyone's mind. The act of suppression requires your brain to continuously monitor for the thought you're trying to suppress, which means it has to keep generating it in order to check if it's there. The harder you fight the memory, the tighter it holds. So what do? Not in a self-help sense, in a genuinely practical brain science sense. The most well-supported answer is also the most counterintuitive one. You go toward it, not away. Psychologist James Pennebaker spent years studying what happens when people write in detail about their most painful memories, not venting, not catastrophizing, but narrating, turning the experience into a coherent story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. What he found, consistently across dozens of studies, was that this process of narrative construction reduced the emotional charge of the memory. It moved the memory from the unresolved stack to the archived stack. It gave the brain what it was looking for, a sense of closure, of understanding, of resolution. Your brain doesn't need you to forget the past. It needs the past to make sense. When a memory is coherent, when you understand what happened, why it happened, what it means, and what you would do differently, your brain is satisfied. The rumination cycle quiets, not because the memory is gone, but because the brain's job is done. The lesson is extracted, the threat is assessed, the file is closed, the scanning stops. This is the thing nobody tells you about the memories you can't stop replaying. They are not evidence of weakness. They are not signs that something is broken in you. They are your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. Scanning for threats, learning from errors, protecting your place among the people who matter to you. The ancient world that shaped this system is gone, but the system remains. And now you know what it is, why it runs, and what it actually needs from you. Tonight, when your mind wanders back to something you said, something you wish you could unsay, you'll know what's happening. Your brain is not tormenting you. It is doing its oldest job. It is trying to keep you safe the only way it has ever known how. It just needs you to give it an ending.